Now, airline pilots have been telling us what they will fly, what they won't fly. You just don't know. In Timaru, there's an aircraft in which you would not want to fly. Our aviation reporter is Jim Mora.
Timaru Airport, a busy little aviation centre named after Richard Pearce, who, as we all know, may have been the first man in the world to fly. Richard flew this. It took guts to try for the sky in those days, and it still does. There's another risky form of aviation going on in Timaru.
Even 351 Timaru. Runway in use is 02. Surface wind is northeasterly, 5 to 10 knots. Caution, there is an aircraft about to take off on runway 11.
I bet you haven't seen this little beauty before. Nicknamed the Flying Venetian Blind, it's a plane with no front or back. It belongs to aircraft engineer Peter James, and it's not easy to fly. Hardened pilots have been known to tremble with terror at the prospect of going up in this.
They look very flimsy.
Would you like to fly it yourself?
No, I don't think I'd be very keen at all.
Now the nuts and bolts of this little craft, there aren't many of them. It's got an 8 horsepower single-cylinder motor. It cruises at about 35 knots, and its stalling speed is only about 15 knots. Officially, it's a powered hang glider, one of the very early hang glider models with an engine on the back. It's a flying wing, similar in principle to the B-2 stealth bomber. In fact, it may pay the Americans to look at this much cheaper model. Peter had a previous version he built himself, but it wasn't a complete success.
We were here, I could only climb on the heat of the day.
And what about prangs?
Yeah, I fell out of the sky in that one. Yeah, I into the spin about 150 feet and never recovered.
Uh-oh.
Come down like a sycamore leaf. I went and had a cup of tea and a beer. So I could fly along, and just by moving my foot forward and back makes it climb and dive.
Is that right?
And if I want to turn, I can just put my hand out and it'll turn either way.
Indicating.
Yep.
I guess you attract a bit of attention around Timaru, do you?
Yeah, I've had a few phone calls. People can't understand how it flies. I get a great buzz out of seeing people's expression.
The idea of taking to the air in this just doesn't seem sensible, but was Richard Pearce sensible? Was Gene Batten? There's always been that excitement of coming in on a wing and a prayer. You'd think Peter would need a whole Bible, but he's happy up there. Oh, and the new user pays aviation doesn't affect him. Because his Easy Riser doesn't have any wheels, he can't be charged landing fees.
I suppose it takes all sorts. I suppose it's a good thing that we're all different.